Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate on this Sunday, October 26, 2025. This is an update for the All Hazards Consortium Sensitive Information Sharing Environment in preparation for Hurricane Melissa's impact on Jamaica. That will take another day or day and a half to play out as it approaches Jamaica. Melissa has begun intensifying again this afternoon. After an earlier pause in intensification this afternoon, Air Force Reserve hurricane reconnaissance missions found Melissa intensifying again. The minimum central pressure has fallen 12 millibars from this morning's NOAA P3 mission, with the last drop sonde indicating a minimum central pressure of 941 millibars. And the plane reported a shrinking eye wall down to 6 nautical miles in diameter. As of 5 p.m., the National Hurricane Center says that Major Hurricane Melissa remains a Category 4 hurricane, but winds have increased to 145 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure, 941 millibars, and the movement has been to the west at 5 miles per hour today, a little bit faster than it has been over the last couple of days, moving at 2 or 3 miles per hour. Right now, Melissa is about 115 miles south-southwest of Kingston, Jamaica, and 295 miles south-southwest of Guantanamo, Cuba. Melissa's current 145 mile per hour winds are expected to increase to 155 miles per hour by tomorrow morning and then reach that Category 5 status. That starts at 156 miles per hour. But NHC is forecasting 160 mile per hour winds during most of the evening tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. 160 miles per hour. Then weakening after it passes over Jamaica to about 130 miles per hour. That's a strong Category 4 hurricane as well. And then headed for eastern Cuba as a Category 3 hurricane. I want to point out on this forecast intensity graph where the impact with Jamaica is expected. And so you see the 160 mile per hour wind forecast. That is prior to landfall. So it looks like the interaction with Jamaica is going to be between this line here at about 155 miles per hour and right around in here when it starts to leave the coastline of Jamaica. So we're talking about the intensity impact being between these lines when it's just around a Category 5 landfall. That is what many of the models are predicting, and the National Hurricane Center is basically saying this is going to be a high-end Category 4 or possibly a Category 5 hurricane at landfall. Then it continues on to Cuba as a Category 3, weakens slightly, and then impacts the Turks and Caicos Islands as a Category 3 or Category 2 hurricane with a major storm surge. There will likely be hurricane advisories issued for the southern Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos probably by tonight's 11 p.m. advisory and no later than tomorrow's 5 a.m. advisory. Let's take a look a little closer here at Jamaica, which is obviously under a hurricane warning. This is for the entire island of Jamaica. This is the latest in the tropical storm force wind radii. That is just starting to move over most of Jamaica right now with tropical storm force wind gusts. This is the core of the storm in the orange. This is where the winds are at 145 miles per hour. And I'll show you that again on satellite here in just a moment as this forecast updates in real time. But you can see as we come across here in 12 hours, we're forecast to be 155 mile an hour wind. And then here we go. Boom. Category 5 hurricane forecast by the National Hurricane Center by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then maintaining that 160 mile per hour strength into the morning of Tuesday, October 28th. This is where it's going to get really dicey for Jamaica as the radius of maximum winds starts to impact the island. And it looks like here the storm is still moving towards the west. We showed you that in the current conditions, moving west at 5 miles per hour. The Hurricane Center is not anticipating a turn towards the north and then the northeast until this time, which is valid at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So that's what we're going to be looking at, a slowing down of the storm and then a turning to the north and then the northeast. If this happens later in the time cycle and the storm gets to move a little further to the west before it turns, then we're going to shift the area of maximum impact on the island of Jamaica. Make no mistake, Melissa is going to be a catastrophic hurricane for Jamaica. The satellite presentation for Melissa remains very impressive, with 1 minute visible satellite images from GOES 19 mesosector showing a very clear eye with a stadium effect. Here it is, an image every minute, and you can see that basic stadium effect. That means when the airplane flies through the eye and they look up, it looks just like a stadium. This eye wall is likely 10 miles high from the base of the clouds up to the top of the clouds. This is the eye wall right in here, and you can see straight down into the ocean, the Caribbean Sea. And these mesovortices that are rotating around this are just incredible. Let's get closer on this 1 minute imagery. Look at this. You can look straight down to the eye and look at these mesovortexes rotating around the eye. You can also see the shadow of the sun, and it's darker going down into the eye because these clouds are so high up. This is 1 minute imagery from the NOAA GOES satellite, and this, you are looking at total destruction when this encounters land. Please do not compare this storm to Gilbert in 1988. If you remember that storm, Gilbert moved quickly across Jamaica from east to west. The damage was devastating. Power lines were down, homes were destroyed, crops were wiped out. But Gilbert kept moving toward the west and spent roughly 6 to 7 hours over the island, making landfall near Kingston about 10 a.m. local time and exited the island near Montego Bay around 4 to 5 o'clock that afternoon. Melissa will not move that fast and will come up from the south. I'm estimating Melissa's core will impact Jamaica for 10 to 12 hours, almost double that of Gilbert. Melissa is stronger, Melissa is wetter, and much slower. Rainfall totals could reach 30 to 40 inches. That is enough to cause catastrophic flooding and landslides, especially in the Blue Mountains and parishes like St. Mary, Manchester, Trelawney, St. Thomas, and Clarendon. Rivers and gullies will rise incredibly fast, and some may cut off entire communities. This is the latest rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center in College Park, Maryland. Where's Jamaica? Right here. Look at this, with rainfall totals in some areas here possible up to 40 inches of rain. Rainfall totals in eastern Cuba will be 16 to 20 inches. This prediction here. 20 to 30 inches of rain look like it'll be confined to Jamaica itself and just offshore. Over in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, look for rainfall totals isolated around 16 inches. So Melissa has several areas of concentrated rain through the core, where the core of the storm is going to move through, and areas of convection to the east. And you can see that on this satellite image. I'll move it to the west. This is that convection right in here. All of these are thunderstorms that are going to be moving up into Hispaniola, and that is going to cause the devastating rain in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Where's the storm surge going to be? This is the latest storm surge based on the 5 p.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center from the Coastal Emergency Risks Assessment. You can see the area where storm surge is going to impact Jamaica at its worst. If you live anywhere near Treasure Beach, over towards Alligator Pond, there is going to be significant storm surge all the way along this area of the coastline when the storm makes landfall. That includes White House on the western side of the island. There's also going to be a surge near Old Harbor, so this whole area here is going to be under the gun for storm surge, and there will also be water pushing in through into Kingston and into the marshy areas there, combined with heavy rainfall that's going to be draining down the rivers, trying to get out through Kingston into the harbor and then into the Caribbean. Look at all of this heavy rain about to move onshore in Jamaica. You can see it really bubbling up right here. Look at this. This is very heavy rain. This is going to be the start of the rain intensity that leads to a total of perhaps 30 to 40 inches of rain. Time is running out. The rain is going to get very intense in Jamaica over the next several hours and continue. Unfortunately, as the storm exits, the back end of this hurricane has a lot of rain with it as well. So we're talking about tremendous, intense rainfall that is going to cause widespread destruction. If you're in low-lying coastal areas, places like Alligator Pond, Treasure Beach, Old Harbor, Morant Bay, Port Maria, Rocky Point, or West Harbor, you need to move to higher ground now. Storm surge and pounding surf will flood those areas quickly once the core of the storm begins to come ashore. For Haiti and the Dominican Republic, catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti and southern portions of the Dominican Republic through midweek. In Haiti, extensive infrastructure damage and isolation of communities is likely. Although winds have temporarily decreased on the Tiburon Peninsula, they are likely to increase again across much of western Haiti on Tuesday. For those of you in eastern Cuba, life-threatening storm surge is expected along portions of the southern coast of eastern Cuba late Tuesday and Tuesday night. Damaging winds and heavy rainfall will be life-threatening, and potentially catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are also expected beginning on Monday. Preparations should be rushed to completion now. Those of you in the Southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, monitor Melissa very closely. There's an increasing risk of a significant storm surge. We could be talking about a Category 2 or 3 hurricane moving through the islands. Damaging winds and heavy rainfall will happen Tuesday and Wednesday. Watches, as I mentioned earlier, may be required early on Monday. Once again, there goes NOAA 42 Kermit to fly through this storm, and they could find Category 5 winds. We're tracking that in GeoCollaborate and will be all evening. You can see the plane flying there in real time now. Jamaica under the hurricane warning, eastern Cuba under a hurricane warning, and the wind field is expanding with Melissa. Stay safe, stay calm, and do not wait. Make sure you take all of your valuable documentation, put it in a baggie, and keep it close to you through this entire period. If you leave any of that information home, if you're thinking and heading to a shelter now, make sure you grab that paperwork. It's going to be very important for the ministry there to see that paperwork to let you go back to your homes, to identify who you are, so they can start to understand the breadth of injuries and potentially deaths. Prime Minister Andrew Holness emphasized preparedness and resource accountability and a commitment to protecting citizens during the storm. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. We're monitoring Melissa for you and the All Hazards Consortium, Fleet Response Working Group, and the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment. Please watch out for yourself and watch out for your neighbors. They really do appreciate it, and you could save their life. We'll see you tomorrow.